Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do a little experiment. I want to compare chalk paint to regular acrylic to see which gives it the better coverage. So let's get started. So I'm going to put just plain acrylic in this little jar here, and just a small spot. That's acrylic. We're going to do chalk paint on wood. With the brush. And number 3. Then acrylic on wood using the sponge applicator. Chalk paint on wood using the sponge applicator. So we have the acrylic here with using the brush, chalk paint using the brush, chalk paint using the brush. And here we have acrylic using the sponge applicator, chalk paint with the sponge applicator, chalk paint with the sponge applicator. So I'm going to apply some acrylic on top of the acrylic with the sponge applicator. Then I'm going to apply acrylic on top of the chalk paint. Chalk paint on chalk paint. This is acrylic on acrylic. And acrylic on chalk paint. So now I'm going to apply chalk paint on top of chalk paint here. Alright, so we have acrylic on acrylic with the brush strokes. We have acrylic on chalk paint with brush stroke here. Good coverage. We have chalk paint on chalk paint. Much better coverage. With the sponge applicator, we have acrylic on acrylic. This is pretty good coverage here. We have acrylic on chalk paint, better coverage. And chalk paint on chalk paint is a little better coverage and more texture. Here we have glass with the sponge applicator. We have acrylic on acrylic, acrylic on top of chalk paint. Next to it is chalk paint on chalk paint. On this side we have the strokes of the paintbrush. This is the acrylic here, acrylic on acrylic. We have acrylic on chalk paint and chalk paint on chalk paint. Here we have the plastic. So we have acrylic on acrylic with the paintbrush. Here you can see it's still very visible, the original object. Here is a little better coverage, a little smudging occurred there. And chalk paint on chalk paint definitely covers it better. That's with the paintbrush. Here we have the sponge applicator, acrylic on acrylic. Better coverage because it gives it a little bit more texture. This is acrylic on chalk paint, and here is chalk paint on chalk paint. I just wanted to show you quickly, this was the original plastic container here, this liquid yogurt container, and I covered it with chalk paint. Just one coat, and you can see it gives it really good coverage. This will definitely need another coat, but you can see that the chalk paint did a good job in hiding the images behind it. This one I tried with acrylic, but it was a very thin coat, so this will definitely need a lot more. So for sure the chalk paint works best when there is a lot going on. So on cardboard we have the sponge applicator. Here's acrylic on acrylic, It's a lot smoother, but the coverage is not so great, so this would probably need another coat or two. Here is the acrylic on chalk paint, much better coverage, and chalk paint on chalk paint. Really great coverage and really great texture. Here's with the paintbrush, acrylic on acrylic, decent coverage, acrylic on chalk paint, better coverage, and chalk paint on chalk paint, much better coverage. And on the tin can, we have acrylic on acrylic with the sponge applicator. We have acrylic on chalk paint, better coverage. We have chalk paint on chalk paint, much better coverage and a lot more texture. With the paintbrush strokes, we have acrylic on acrylic, decent coverage, not bad. We have acrylic on chalk paint, better coverage, and chalk paint on chalk paint, even better coverage. Okay, so it really just boils down to what you like, guys, as far as coverage. And it just also depends on the media you're working with, whether glass, plastic, cardboard, tin, or wood. And of course, the print that's behind the object, if it's plain glass or very bright and colorful print behind it. So there you have it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you haven't already done so, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.